And to my left sits Bill Whitmire, head of the Republican. He's a Republican chair for Milam County, and also, of course, the host of his special show, Bleacher Bum Radio. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's good to always have you here because I know you've got
An opinion.
feel for all the things that we're going to be talking about in a little bit here. I've been talking to you about some articles I've been reading and things that are irritating me, and I'm sure there's some things that are maybe irritating you. And there's so much of it, I don't really know where to start. Is there anything that want to just spill out of you that we can start this off with, or am I going to spit up my guts first?
No, let's wait to spit up your guts. I'll give you something that I kind of wanted to, that I think would feed into your audience pretty well, and that is, obviously, we've talked a little bit about the constitutional carry law that's being pushed through the legislature right now, or trying to be, pushed through the legislature, and I think it had a pretty good chance of passing this year. However, it's hit a hitch, and it's kind of the same hitch that we had several years ago. 2012, we were looking to change the platform for the Republican Party of Texas, and it's a Fort Worth group of constitutional carry folks showed up in front of the convention carrying weapons legally. There was nothing wrong with the way they were carrying the weapons, but it kind of changed the outlook of some of the delegates to where it didn't pass and didn't get on the platform until 2014. And several of us sat down with the leaders of that group and said, what you want to do is great. The way you're trying to do it is the wrong way because you're intimidating people.
There's a phrase that says, you may be right, but it's not always profitable.
Right. And that's what's happening this year is there's a large group of legislators that are sitting on the fence, and I think they want to go with the constitutional carry. However, this same group has organized a larger group of people to go out to those legislators' neighborhoods, home neighborhoods, and these guys are in Austin, their families are out there, and it's kind of taken that. Now I think that bill is going to get put on the back burner, and it's going to be on hold until 2021 because there are so many legislators who have either been offended or feel like there's some sort of intimidation. So my feeling in talking to guys in Austin is that they really want to push this through. They really want to get to where we need to be with that. But it's this group of folks that take it to the limit, and that limit may cost them getting it. And here's the next part of it is our state, the way our state's voting is changing. And we're not going to have, I think we're going to have a legislature in another 2 or 4 years that's much more closer to the center. I don't think we're going to go as far and swing all the way back to the left where everybody's a Democrat, but we're going to come back towards the center. We're already seeing it happen. In the property tax legislation, they wanted a 2% hike was all the counties could do. Dan Patrick's group has offended so many people that was changed to where they thought they could only get 4.5. They ended up compromising and getting 3.5, which means the county can only raise taxes 3.5% before it has to go to a vote. I'm in full agreement with that. I think there needs to be some kind of limitation on your county government. But that could have been so much more, but these kind of tactics of going after pie-in-the-sky type legislation and not handling the basic stuff is what cost us. So the message is be smart about how you protest things. Be smart about how you demonstrate things and show people how to safely do things, but not try to work on the intimidation side, because whether you mean to intimidate or not, that's what happens. And when that happens, people are apt to not do what you want them to do if they feel intimidated
that goes
to
both
do it.
ways. I mean, people on both sides, whatever the issue is, if you get so incensed and you don't use your common sense, it screws it up for everybody.
And I'm good with the other side not using their common sense, but I'm on this side, and I kind of want them to use our common sense. So, but that's all on that.
All right, I'll tell you what. Since we're talking Texas, and Texas has a large border, let's talk about this article here about the New Mexico governor attacking the Citizen Border Patrol after 1,800 illegal cross in 24 hours. How do you even come up with the guts or the onions to attack a border patrol for trying to protect his border when 1,800 in one day are trying to cross the border?
Well, she's a Democrat, and she's looking at potential voters. I mean, if you stop 1,800 people from coming across, that's 1,800 voters that you're not going to get next election.
You say that so quickly, and people may think you're just kidding. You're not.
You like to go
And I
home.
agree. I totally get it.
There are
let's
states
see if
out
I
there
can
that
see what I
have
can do.
put that onto their state legislation this year, is to try to make it legal for illegals to vote in their state. And let's not call them migrants or this, that, or the other. They
They're
are just what
illegal
they are.
aliens.
Exactly, they are
You guys all have a
illegal
call
I
aliens.
got a call. Okay, I'll tell you what. We got a call. Let's see.
Let's see if I can get it on.
All right, everybody. Kincaid's doing a great job here. We're going to see if we can get the caller on.
Oh,
And
hold up real quick.
anyway, this article, I want to read this article because I want you to hear the anger, the stupidity, the ridiculousness of what these people say. And I'm stalling because I think we got a call, right?
You got it.
Kincaid's doing a great job.
I'm just-
All right, I'm going to read this article. When the caller gets on, hold on, just stay up there for a while. It goes, just days after Border Patrol apprehend 1,800 illegal immigrants in one day, the government of New Mexico and the ACLU are criticizing a citizen group patrolling the border. It should go without saying that regular citizens have no authority to arrest or detain anyone, New Mexico's Democratic Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham told the New York Times. She also said it's completely unacceptable that migrant families might be menaced or threatened in any way, shape, or form when they arrive at our border. Well, let me tell you something, lady. They shouldn't be dragging their kids in the middle of the night through dangerous areas. They should keep them home and do it the right way. I'm pausing on the article because we have a call. Welcome to Aaron's High Cabinet Radio program. My name's Matt. Who am I speaking to?
There we
Hello?
go.
Go ahead. Turn your radio down, I guess. All right, put them on hold, Kincaid. We're going to continue on the article.
They're just not.
Meanwhile, the American Civil Liberties Union of New Mexico sent a letter to Governor Grisham and Attorney General Hector Balderas on Thursday asking for the groups of patriots voluntarily patrolling the border to be investigated. Below is an excerpt of the letter in which they call the group United Constitutional Patriots, white nationalists, and fascists. Here it goes, quote, 2 nights ago, on April 16, 2019, an armed fascist militia organization describing itself as the United Constitutional Patriots arrested nearly 300 people seeking safety in the United States, including young children near Sunland Park, New Mexico. Other videos appear to show arrests in the past few hours. The vigilante members of the organization, including Jim Benvey, who posted videos and photographs of the unlawful arrest to social media, are not police or law enforcement, and they have no authority under New Mexico or federal law to detain or arrest immigrants in the United States. Their actions undermine the legitimate efforts of the state's law enforcement officials to keep New Mexico's families safe, and they erode the community trust. Whatever. Down here, though, it said, what was it, the citizen's arrest? Why don't you explain that, Bill? You said it clear, where this guy, they don't arrest them, they're verbally...
They're very non-threatening from what I saw. There was the BBC did a pretty good article on it, video expose on it, and the gentleman that was speaking for the group said that basically what they do is they get up and they say, you're under citizen's arrest, and you need to wait until the Border Patrol gets here, and then that's it. And he said that 9 out of 10 of them will just sit down and wait for the Border Patrol, and then that 1 out of 10 will walk off, and if they walk off, they don't do anything. They just let them walk.
So here you have these people making a stink, and it makes you, when you read the story, you people are so worried about losing your potential voters. You don't give a damn about the security of your border. It's disgusting. It makes my stomach turn when I read what these people have to say and their neglect for this country, its borders, it's the way we do things. And the key word is illegal. Illegal. What part of illegal don't you freaking get, you morons?
Well, then they this week the president came out and said that let's send those to sanctuary cities.
Amen to that.
And there was actually a study done by I can't think. It was one of the University of California campuses, and they said that in actuality, 95% of all illegal aliens that are detained, then if they are given bail to come back to court, they are allowed to go to a family member who is either legally in the nation, legally in America, or they are an American citizen. And that 95% of them end up in sanctuary cities because that's where their relatives are to begin with.
Let's talk about Cher. Did you see the article about Cher?
Well, what she said.
As much as I like Cher,
You like Cher?
I like everything outside. If she would just shut her mouth politically, I'd like her. Okay, yeah, I do like her. I've been watching her since I was a little kid. But you put that other part to it, man, it sinks the ship. But here she goes. No, we can't do the sanctuary city thing because we can't help who we got already. So here you got a city that can't take any more people, yet you want 1,800 people to come across the border overnight in one night. This country can't take it because these people they take the money out of the country, and if they're still in the country, the services of people like you and I, the middle class who pay for most of the bill, there's only so many of us putting money into the system, and they got all these illegals coming and taking that money and bringing it down south again. And yeah, they do some things for us. Sure, I get the field, I get all that crap, okay? But don't even start with me there. I'm talking about the mass border crossings of all these people. It's hurting. It's going to kill this country.
Well, they talk about bringing them in and that the illegals do jobs that Americans won't do. And if that's the truth, and that's the God-honest truth, okay, I get it. Take away the welfare from the Americans that are here that won't do those jobs. We give away so much welfare and so many unemployment benefits to Americans. If there are actually jobs that Americans won't take, that we got to bring illegals in here, that's fine. Get rid of all these long-term unemployment plans, long-term welfare plans to all these people who won't get out and get a job then. Because obviously, if we've got to bring illegals in here to do jobs that Americans won't do, then the jobs are here. That's not the problem. The problem is the people getting off their rears and going and doing the job.
A lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people, I hear a lot of people, I watch a lot of people on news reports on this, and their responses to questions concerning this topic are so shallow. It's as though they don't do their homework. They have no core belief. They have no understanding of the fundamentals of being an American. It's getting diluted and lost. It's scary, man. We were talking about the numbers that people do things. This country was formed with, what, 30% of the population at that time actually doing something, or was it even less than that?
It's probably less than
Less than that. A very small percentage keep our way of life preserved, ladies and gentlemen, and more of that percentage is getting dwindled because people are being ignorant to the fact they got their heads up their phones, they're not paying attention, they're being swayed by a media that is very against the way we live. I don't care what you say, I see it. When I see it and I hear it personally and then read it or watch it and it's being spun around, you're trying to make me look like a fool, and I'm no fool. I do my homework.
Well, I would say probably 10% of the population, not the world population, but the U.S. population is proactive, or they're going to take action before things happen. 90% of America is reactive. You never hear of any, well, I can't say never, but you very rarely hear of anybody coming up with something to save the world from some sort of cancer, or to save the world from some sort of disease, or to save the world from some sort of anything, mistreatment or whatever, until that person's life has been touched by either that disease or that mistreatment or whatever. And until that happens, everybody just runs around not thinking about it. Somebody asked me a while back about how do we increase voter turnout? How do we get more people to vote? Obviously, voter apathy is terrible. We had 22% of the people last year vote in the primaries. The primaries, people will show up a little bit more for the general election, maybe 40%, but only 20% for the primaries. But in all reality, the primaries is where you choose your candidates. That's where you choose the person that's got the chance to win in November. And if you're not there in the primaries, you're not doing it. So my solution was real simple. As a government, you create the budget first. Then you turn around and you look at your GMP and you say, okay, this is the percentage of the GMP that we need to cover this budget, plus 10% to pay off the debt. Then you set that tax rate at whatever it is. So let's say the tax rate, you're going to have 30% of everybody's pay. Everybody's pay. No deductions, no anything. Everybody pays 30% to pay the bills for that year. And that's how you do it. And if everybody, whether you make $5 million or you make $5,000, if you have to pay 30% of your income, people will vote. People will get up and vote. But right now, nobody does anything until their life is personally touched by it. We don't think about the guys in Afghanistan right now. A lot of people don't, because they don't have any friends. They don't have any family. Their life is not touched. The other night, I got to spend the night in the Chicago airport. I spent 28 hours there. If you ever have an opportunity to spend a lot of time in the Chicago airport like that, pass. But I got to spend all that time in there, and it was graduation day at Navy boot camp. And I'm watching all these 19, 18, 20-something-year-olds walk through in their brand new dress blues with one medal on there, a National Defense Medal in most cases. Some might have had a shooting medal. And then I'm watching all these young men that are the same age walking around with laptops and briefcases. Some dressed nice because they might have a nice job, others dressed however. And I think, those kids that are walking around in those blue uniforms, black uniforms, let's be honest, they are black.
Uniform.
But in uniform, they've got something there. They've got something the rest of their life that they put something on the line for their country. They are proactive. And maybe some of them joined because family, but they are proactive. And those other guys, they don't have a problem in the world. They don't care about any of this stuff,
And I'm sure there's a nice handful of those who are very patriotic. Don't misunderstand me. The point is the culture, the kids and children who are being raised through our schools now are not being taught the patriotism of this country and what that flag represents. People say, who's that senator or whatever, the congressman who said that rag? He's a rag. That flag on top of the pole represents a way of life. And it's our duty to protect it, defend it, and keep it. And like I was talking about with Rick, as long as the pillars of strength of this country, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights and all that, and the patriotism is there, not chipped away, sure, we can try all these different things out, and if they work, they work. If they don't, we vote them out the next time it comes around. But you can't dissect, disintegrate, chip away, throw away your pillars of your nation. And one of those pillars is a secured border.
Yep. It's I recently had a chance to spend some time over in England. Well, we were there last week, and then all the Brexit stuff was going off. And we were actually there for the big demonstration around Parliament. We picked the worst time in the world to go to Parliament because that's when that was Brexit Day, and they had a huge demonstration. And it's kind of cool. I mean, until the smoke bombs came out, and it was all pretty cool. But
He's online right now? He's on the phone now?
No.
But the guy the thing about it was I had a chance to talk to a lot of English folks about this while we were there. And a friend of mine who is a pilot, who was one of my pilots in the Navy, who lives over there now, he said there are good things and bad things about living in England. You have universal health care. However, it's more about quantity than quality. They're just trying to get people through there. So we make jokes about people that have bad teeth from England, but the truth is, unless you got the money to go to a dentist and pay your own bill, they're just going to do what they got to do to get rid of you. And the thing about Brexit was, the biggest complaint I heard was the fluidity of the border. And a lot of folks were upset because you'd get people come in from Poland. You'd get people, and they have free reign to come and go as they want because they're all EU citizens. They would come in to England and take jobs for cheaper money than English folks that live there were willing to take.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds very familiar. And once they got in there and they started being paid in England, they immediately became eligible for the English healthcare system, which in turn backed that system up, which everybody in England, you get free healthcare, you're paying for it in your taxes, but you get free healthcare. But now that you've just added all these workers from other countries that come in, and now they're a part of it as well. And as the EU is one big European government, essentially, what it means is that every country that they have in Europe is basically a state. It's just like our federal government, except just like our federal government, well, it's not except, but just like our federal government, England, just like Texas is right now, is a giver. They pay more money into the EU than they receive back from the EU in benefits. Texas, as a state, we give more into the union and get less back out. And that's where, with that Brexit, kind of got off the subject there, but that's where that Brexit was. The porous borders is one of the leading reasons for Brexit. I worry about the southern border. I also worry about the border with the United States. I think we need a wall all the way around Texas. But that border, it was amazing to me. I thought it was going to be economics and other reasons, and it was economics, but it was the main reason that every person that I asked, why are you for Brexit, they're within their top one or two was always the porousness of the border and just allowing anybody with an EU, because you come in, let's say you come into Germany, you have some Islamic folks come into Germany, you don't know what their background is, but then they get that document where they can travel around the EU because of their German, not citizenship, but they're legal in Germany, so they can travel around the EU. Now you're letting them in. And it's legal there. This one is illegal. These folks are coming across the United States border illegally. This is not even a matter of legitimate crossings.
You know, we're a very compassionate country, but I want to make a comparison here. If I'm a soldier on the battlefield, I'm wearing a uniform, I've got compassion. There's sometimes you pull the trigger, there's sometimes you don't. But if it gets to the point where my compassion will endanger a mission, that compassion gets put in check and the job needs to be done. The compassion of this country, of a lot of people in this country who say, open borders, let them come in, we'll take care of them, you're not seeing the picture. You're about to get yourself killed, figuratively speaking, like the soldier would be showing compassion to the enemy who's going to try and kill them, okay? Compassion is compassion, and it's great, but it must be under check in certain conditions, okay? That is your host's opinion, and I think it's a very valid opinion. What do you think of that?
Well, you can say it like I heard someone say it last week. It's my opinion, but it also happens to be fact. No, I agree. I mean, you know, somebody asked me last week, what did I think was the biggest? One of the folks from England said, what did I think was the biggest problem in the world? And I said, overpopulation, pure and simple. There's just too many. There's more people on Earth right now alive than there are dead in the history of the world. You know, and we don't think about that.
Yeah, but I still think
You know,
this world, the Lord blesses us with a place that it can take care of anything. It's no matter.
Well,
how
that's
we
the thing
handle it.
is we don't look at that. You know, you think about it in this terms of a city. The city can build for 10 years down the road, or they can build 10 years behind. You look at Austin; they're continually 10 years behind in their
Trying to
building.
catch up, yeah.
And you know, 30 years ago when I was in high school, I remember they said, you know, you had 9 or 10 rail spurs coming out of Austin, and they wanted to do a light rail system. All the rural counties voted for it. Travis County voted against it and outvoted everybody because of the number of people in Travis County, and we never got a light rail system. Think about how useful a light rail system would have, because one of those railways came right here through Cameron. Think about it. If you work in Austin, how easy would it be to jump on a train, a light rail train, into Austin to go to work in the morning instead of having to make that drive in your own car? That'd be a whole lot easier. But we passed up on it because of Travis. We as a country, we as a world, we tend to we tend to be too reactive and not proactive. Look at Rockdale and Cameron. Your water system's pretty good, huh? Now we're really reactive about it, but why weren't we proactive about it 30 years ago and done it in little steps over 30 years instead of trying to figure out how to make it work now?
Same thing with the roads, man. Putting layer
Yeah.
upon layer upon
Yeah.
layer, and you got this big hump on the road, and it's trying to cross from one road to the other is ridiculous. Hey, look, before we run out of time, this has been eating at me.
Yeah, it has.
Okay? There's Omar. What's her
Elon
first name?
Omar.
Elon Omar. Okay, what's her status?
She's a House of Representative member, a Democrat House of Representative member from Minnesota, from Minneapolis, actually.
Okay, and there's this feud going on, I guess, with Trump and her based on words and tweets. But the bottom line is this: she says, and she's Muslim, Somali American, hyphenated American there, so she's from Somalia, like I'm Lebanese heritage, but I'm an American. You cut me, I bleed red, white, and blue. But she goes here, for far too long, we have lived with the discomfort of being a second-class citizen. And frankly, I'm tired of it, and every single Muslim in this country should be tired of it too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired of Muslims in this country not standing up and saying, hey, yeah, I'm a Muslim. I'm a peace-loving American. I'm a Muslim. That's your faith, and God bless you. I'll wear a uniform to defend your right to have your faith that way. But you need to stand up. You need to say things and defend this country. Everybody seems to be scared of bringing this up. So when she says this comment of, you're tired of it, well, I'm tired of you and your attitude of how everything's got to revolve around you. It doesn't revolve around you. It revolves around this country and the safety and the security of this country, and everybody needs to put towards that. What's your thought on that, Bill?
Well, then she went on to say that it was, and I want to phrase it, I don't want to take out a phrase. She said that CARE was founded after 9/11, which it wasn't. It was founded in 94. But because they recognize that some people did something that all of us that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. Well, first of all, CARE was founded in '94 by some scholars to make, and it got sidetracked, and it's about 7 or 8 people that they claim they have all those members, and it stands for the Council on American Islamic Relations, and it's a farce. They have been accused of, and they have done things to aid Hamas and Israel and various other things. What she said is not the first time she said something completely stupid either. She's made more anti-Semitic remarks than some of the neo-Nazis running around, but she's made it from an Islamic standpoint, so therefore it's, we're going to let it slide. Most liberals let it slide. The president has not, and other staunch conservatives, real conservatives, have not let it, and it should not let it. And when it first happened, both Nancy Pelosi, Charles Schumer, all of them, Van Hollen, all of those big liberals in D.C. stood up against it. Then when she did it again, then they wanted her to apologize. She didn't apologize. She made some half attempt at an apology that was not an apology. But then within a week, she did it again, and they all, just said, "Oh, she's being taken out of context." There's the context right there. We just read what her remarks were about 9/11, and she got bashed over 9/11, and then it was, that's not what I really meant, blah, 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 blah. It's not what I said. It is exactly what she said.
A lot of people may not like what I think or what I say. And first, I don't care. But two, what I think and what I say is all based on patriotism, the protection of this country. I and so many others, you included, have worn that uniform to defend that flag and give you the right, those of you who may oppose these things, the right to say what you don't like, and I'll defend it. But man, you got to protect the goose. You kill the goose, there go your eggs. And speaking of eggs, it's Easter. And
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. And take those eggs that blessed goose gives us. Color them any color you want. Have a great time with your family. Enjoy the food, companionship. And don't forget what the true meaning of Easter is. And until next week, I guess keep your powder dry and God bless. Kincaid, take us out with some good music, and we'll see you next week.